ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, text number 31. This is continuation of prayers by Srimati Devaki Devi. So, in this verse he spoke about Krishna being the Supreme Person in whose body the whole creation goes at the end of the Parardha, and he has taken birth from her, so she thinks that people will ridicule her because of that. Aho nirlokasya vidambanam hitat. So we are reading commentary on this, and Sriji Vishnu Chakravarti explained about three types of bhakti: Guni Bhuta, Pradhani Bhuta and Kevala. And he said that Kevala Bhakti culminates in Prema. And then he said that this Prema is of four types. And then he spoke of Vatsalya among the four. So he said that this Vatsalya is of two types, one in Vraja, another in Mathura Dwarka. It basically means Yashoda and Devaki here specifically. So he said that the Vatsalya in Vraja does not become subdued by the Aishwarya of Krishna. So that's what we studied. So he said that Yatha tanamamta rasnaya nibaddho vashibhuya Sakrishnaha swamadhurya param anya anashwadyam vatsalya premvat janatam ashwadayati. That this type of madhurya of Sri Krishna is not experienced by others. And now he says, Jnanena va jnanmaya ratya va sachidanandatmak vastunam ya aswadaha tasmat koti koti gunitam mamta hetukam aswadam prema pravartayati. So he said that Gunibhuta Bhakti results in Jnana, which is Brahman, and Pradhani Bhuta gives Gyan Mairati or Prema, which is mixed with Aishwarya. So he says that the Madhurya, which is experienced by Prema, that is Koti Koti Gunitam Mamta. It is millions of times more than the one which you experience in the other two. Tathahi, as it is described here, Sarva Santapa Nivartakat Paramahladakaat Drishyamanat Chandradapi Sakashat Sarva Gunhinopi Kalatvadi Doshayuktopi Drishyamanah Swaputro Yat Sukham Adhikam Datte Tatra Mamtaeva Yadi Karanam Sarvaguna Mandite Swabhavadev Niravidhika Sukhaprade Shri Krishna Putri Bhute Niravidhika Eva Samamta Premanishta Kimuta. So he says basically the point which he is making is that the sweetness is in mamata, in this feeling of belongingness, that something belongs to you. Mamata literally means minus. There is no proper translation for this, or you can suggest something better. So it's actually feeling of possessiveness out of love. That when you love something, then you think that object belongs to you. So in the material world also the same word is used, mamata or mamatva, because here also we have material attachment to things and we think they belong to us. My son, my child, my house, my wife, my husband, all this. So there is my, that mama. Mama means my. So then mamata is there. So that's what gives the sweetness. So these days in relations, this myness is missing. That's why people don't relish relations these days. Even material relations are not very satisfying, because people actually don't have this sense of mindness. Actually, they don't even have an idea about it, what it is, even materially speaking. So that's why the relations are very shallow, because the depth in relation comes because of this mamatva. So mamatva actually means that you put yourself into that person or that object. Because our mamatva primarily is into the body, and from that it spreads like the magnetic field into objects outside. So now people do not have the sense of I itself very strong. They are not clear about that. Right? There is so much confusion just about the gender these days. Some 27, 32, 37, big list. So they are not even clear what they are. So if I am not clear about myself, my identity, what kind of minus I can have if I-ness is not clear? Because minus comes from I-ness. First there is I, then there is my. And they actually go together and fortify each other. That's why you want to possess things, because that possessiveness makes your I strong. You feel strong when you have, like if you have money, wealth, you feel you are somebody. Although it is all external, but it's in the mind, that feeling. But if my base itself is not very strong, then I cannot have things externally also strongly. So that's the whole problem in society now, this relational problems, and then from that all other problems come. Then we don't know what am I supposed to do, because I am the karta, the kartritva is in me, right? And if that is not clear, then kartritva is not clear, the agency, what kind of act I have to perform. So then we keep on trying everything, experimenting here, there. So we don't have the strong mooring, base, foundation, materially. And then you come to spiritual life, so there also one remains like that, jumping here, there, like frog, manduk pluti nyaya. It will come in Harinam Vyakaran. There is a nyaya, it's called manduk pluti, jump of a frog. It will come in the second chapter. So that manduk pluti is very popular now in society. So we don't identify with family, parents, country, nothing. So then things are not clear, and therefore we don't relish. Otherwise material relations also give pleasure, satisfaction. But that is also not there. So then the next solution comes is that try to forget. So that's why there is so much drug use now. So he is making this point, yes. Yeah.
One of the points you made is that mamatva is grounded in ahangatva. So in relation to prema, which in one sense is simply mamata, could we say that the mamata that's experienced in prema, the strength of that mamata is coming from Krishna's own ahamtva?
No, you also have yourself. You know that you are part of Krishna, you are a devotee of Krishna, you have strong identity, like Yashoda has a strong identity that I am mother of Krishna. That's her identity. That's why it is very deep. In case of Devaki, she thinks I am mother, but he is God, so how can I be mother? That's what she was saying. That's the point she made. Aho nilokasya vidambanam hitat. So Yashoda does not think like that. Yashoda has no doubt that she is not the mother of Krishna. But Devaki is having two thoughts. That I am Krishna's mother, that is also there, but Krishna is Vishwam yadaitat swatano nishanta yathavakasam purusha paro bhavan. You are Parapurusha. So how can somebody be the mother of Parapurusha, the Supreme Person? He is everybody's mother. Mata Dhata Pitamaha. Krishna says, I am the mother, I am the father, I am the Dhata Pitamaha, grandfather, everything I am. So that is the meaning of Aishwarya. So when that you have that feeling, then your identity as mother becomes weaker, shakes.
Could I follow? I guess I was thinking about it in the context of a jiva as opposed to an anadi siddha parshad. Like if a jiva in and of itself, its own sense of I, isn't defined as such, and then by tadatma of the Sarup Shakti, which is what prema is constituted of, then it acquires this capacity for identification and mamatva with these higher things.
Yeah. So therefore either you identify with the body, otherwise without body the I is just plain I, without predicate.
Yeah.
We explained this in Paramatma Sandarbha. So that is in Brahman, then there is nothing there. So that's why there is no relish also, that's what he was saying, koti koti gunita. So now in the material world we have body, so then we identify with that and then we relish through that. When you are in the spiritual world, then you have spiritual identity, and then you relish on that. But in that there is intensity, levels of different intensity. And that intensity depends how much you move from Aishwarya to Madhurya. So you are zero at Brahman because it is complete Aishwarya only. There is no Madhurya there, the form itself is not there. Then comes Shanta, then Dasya, Sakhya and so on. So now Aishwarya level goes down. Then you come to ultimately Vraja, where Aishwarya is completely subdued. So this is the purest Narlila, where Krishna himself does not identify as God.
Yeah, sorry, last point. Like I'm thinking of that statement in Priti Sandarbha, I forget how it goes, but it uses that phrase nikshipyamana, about how Krishna's own Sarup Shakti he casts into the bhakta.
Yeah, so what is the question on that?
So if this prema or this mamata is coming from ahamta, and Krishna's
but that is what he is giving you.
Exactly, that's what I wanted to confirm.
That's why I said that I, Jiva, the I of Jiva is without predicate. So now when he is giving you, you are getting the predicate.
Yeah.
So now that predicate can be pure Naratva or it can be mixture with Aishwarya.
Babaji, I have a question. Babaji, so for a devotee in the material world, what is his proper identity, or what should one think of one's identity as?
Well, we have present this material body, so we have an identity in relationship to that, and then spiritually we have another identity. That's why when you take Diksha, it is called another birth. So one identity we have because of our material birth, another identity we have because of spiritual birth. So you have dual identity, and then you try to make them synthetic. So you cannot deny that you don't have the physical body, but now you relate it to the ultimate, and this also belongs to Krishna.
Babaji, and just to follow on that, what is the spiritual identity?
That I am servant of my Guru. Because he is the one who gave birth. It's like material, you have material birth, then you have identity in relationship to material birth. Right? So that's what I was saying, that in Varnashrama system, they had these various samskaras. And that was all related with the identity. To give you a strong identity. So similarly you have Diksha, then you have spiritual identity. That I have Guru and I am disciple of my Guru, servant of my Guru. And that is my spiritual identity. And then I use my material identity for that. I, dovetail it, make it yukta. So nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchyate. So this is called nirbandha with Krishna sambandha. Attaching. Bandha means tying up. So then it becomes one composite unit. So although there are two, but it becomes one. So that's how you turn material life into spiritual life. And this dichotomy of this is my sadhana, this is my work, and then this disappears. Because of identity, because it's all, whole game is of identity only. That's why in bhakti, that's why bhakti is difficult to understand, because it's a whole change of identity. That's the problem with Arjuna. He is hanging on to his material identity, and Krishna is asking him to give up. That's what he said, give up. Man mana bhav mad bhakta. He says, now I tell you the topmost secret. Sarva gohiya tamam bhuya shrunu me paramam vacha. This is supreme statement. So what is that? Man mana bhav mad bhakta. So man mana means your mind on me, and the mind on me is possible when you have mamatva. Because your mind is where your mamatva is. Wherever is your attachment, that's where the mind goes. So you do the japa, then you know where the mind is going. So then you know. Also the opposite is there, the dvesha is also there. Dvesha is just the flip side of the mamatva. So it moves in the grooves of raga and dvesha, mamatva and opposite of that. So that is changed, and Krishna says man mana bhav mad bhakta. And that is the only way to relish. Otherwise you remain like Shanta Bhaktas. Present people are udasin. Shanta means udasin.
Babaji, last question on that point, and you said the identity is to be the servant of the Guru. So is there different grades of being a servant of the Guru, or is it just one kind of a servant?
No, there are grades are depending on, again, same intimacy. There are disciples who think of Guru on Vyas Purnima, Guru Purnima day, and rest of the year they don't think. So that is dependent on grades in any relationship. The same thing, intimacy. Anything else?
Babaji, I have a quick question. In 9th chapter, end of 9th chapter, Krishna also says Manmana Bhavana Bhakto. But here in 18th chapter, when he says this is the Guhyatam knowledge, so what is the difference at these two times?
Well, he has said it there, but he said so many things, now he is reminding him. At that time he did not say that this is Guhyatama. I may say so many, give so many instructions, and later on I say out of this is the topmost or secret. So what he said is that Jnanena va Jnanmaya Ratya va Sachidanandatmak Vastunami Ashwindasudit Tatha, he is now demonstrating this with an example. Example which can be understood, we may have experience. That's what I was saying, that these days these examples also don't convey much because people have lost this also. So it says, think of Sarva Santap Nivartakat Paramaladhakat Drishyamanat Chandradapi. So moon is considered as beautiful, pleasing, right? Especially in India when it is hot summer like now. So you don't have AC, etc. Olden days, so whole day it is hot. At night sun goes down, then moon comes out, so it is cooling. So therefore Sarva Santap Nivartakat. It takes away your Santap. Santap has double meaning. Santap means heat, Santap also means suffering. Because heat is suffering. Not if you live in Siberia, but when you live here, there the cold is suffering. So Sarva Santap Nivartakat Param Aladhakat, and it gives joy. It's pleasing. Drishyamanat, and it is visible. Chandradapi. So he says more than that is the pleasure a mother gets from a child who is sarva gunhinopi, doesn't have any good qualities. You can see sometimes there are children who are born handicapped. Nothing to ridicule, but mother actually still has affection for them. It's not that she cares for them. So that's what he means, sarva gunhinopi. That at least normal child smiles, laughs, makes some noises, but some children cannot do that. They are born handicapped. So kalatvadi doshayuktopi. So having the defects of time, drishyamana swaputro yat sukham adhikam datte. But because the child is my child, that child gives more happiness than the moon. Why? Because of mamatva only. If mamatva is not there, then the child does not give happiness. You see many times that mothers, they mistreat their children. Child is crying, they don't care. So why? Because there is no mamatva. If mamatva is there, it is not possible that the child is crying and you are sitting and gossiping or doing something. That one news I read, that one woman, she was playing a video game on the computer and the child was crying and did not stop crying. She became so angry, threw the child on the floor, and he was dead. The child died. So this is also mother, means no mamatva. So when mamatva is there, then even sarva gunhina kalatvadi doshikto api, still the child gives more joy. Drishyamanah swaputro yat sukham adhikam datte tatra mamta eva yadi karanam. So the cause of joy is only mamata. If mamata is not there, then there is no joy. So kurvannapi velikani ya priya eva se. Ashesha dosa dushtopi kaya kasyana vallabha. So kurvanapi velikani. Velika means unfavorable. Yo priya priya evasa. Somebody who is dear to you, even if that person makes some mistake, still he is dear to you. If in the house you have a servant and you ask him to bring a cup of water, a glass of water, he brings and he drops the glass. So you get upset. If you ask your son or daughter to bring and they do it, you don't get that upset. What is the difference? As far as the loss is concerned, it's same. Your glass is broken or something else. The servant breaks it and your son, daughter, wife, husband, anyone who is dear to you makes that mistake. Then you understand the feeling is different. So therefore he says, Kurvanapi velikani, yo priya, priya evasa. That one who is priya, dear to you, is dear even if he or she does something wrong. And then he gives a very beautiful example. So kurvanchat velikani, ashesha dosa dushtopi, kaya kasyana vallabha. He says our body is all the time troubling us. Even if you are healthy, at least 3 times you have to eat. You have to sleep. If you don't sleep properly in time, then it troubles you. And then all types of pain come from body. So ashesha dosa dushtopi. There is no limit of the problems which body can give. Every part of body can give you trouble. Even your little finger or toe on the foot can give you hell. But still it is dear to us. We don't say hell with this body, I'm dropping it. I'm cutting my finger because it's too much painful. So this is because of mamatva. Because mamatva is there, therefore we don't even think that body is troubling me. If there was another human being living with you who is giving that kind of trouble which your body is giving you, having that type of demands which your body is having, then you'll throw that person out in 2 days or you will leave. Right? How many demands body has, bodily needs, just if you think from morning till evening. Imagine in 24 hours how much time we have to give to body. Eating, sleeping, bathroom, business. Right? So you calculate all that. If this much time you have to give to another human being, will you stay with that? In 1 day you said bye-bye. And if you are staying, that means you have mamatva. Or you are getting paid. So there is mamatva in that. Otherwise it's just not possible that you can give this much time to anybody. So mother gives so much time to the child. Child actually demands so much time because of mamatva. If mamatva is not there, then put him in that crib and let him cry. Cry to sleep. That's the training they give now. So that is different story. So he says, Tatra mamataeva yadi karanam. So what is the karana in this? Mamata only, nothing else. So there now you compare with Krishna. First he said that it is sarva gunahina. Is devoid of any quality, the child. Even if the child is not handicapped, what is the quality child has? Nothing. It only demands. So now you compare this with Krishna. So he says, Sarva guna mandite. So endowed with all good qualities. whatever you can think of. Swabhavadeva niravadhik sukhaprade. And by his very nature, he gives unlimited joy. Because he is bliss personified. Everything about him. His body, his smell, his touch, his talks, his speech, his actions, everything is just blissful. So niravadhik sukhaprade Sri Krishna putri bhute. So when Krishna is nobody's son, but putri bhute means he becomes the son. Swabhut tad bhava. Niravadhika eva sa mamata prem nishtha kimute. So then there will be no limit of this mamata. And then correspondingly no limit of prema. So he says, what can be said about it? Kimuta. Says Kyamutik Nyaya. Iti Gyan Premanor Bhedo Vivrita. So he is trying to show us the distinction between Jnana and Prema. Means Gyan Marg and Bhakti Marg. So Gyan Marg people think that Bhakti is just a means to reach Brahman. This much is their ignorance. Yatha hi avidya swavritya mamtaya jivam dukkhaitumeva badhnati tathaiva prema swavritya mamtaya ishwaram sukhrupam api ati sukhaitum badhnati. So he said, just as avidya, which is here in the material world, swavritya, by its various manifestations, mamataya, by mamata, jivam dukhaitum eva badhnati. It binds the jiva through mamata, which results only in suffering. Because everything is anitya. The biggest characteristic here in the material world is that if you become attached to anything, then that object itself is not stable. And even if it is there, because our body is also not stable, not only that it is not stable, there is a vibhav varupya. It is called in Sahityik language vibhav varupya. So you have sthai bhav, vibhav, anubhav, sanchari bhav. So vibhav is hero and heroine, right? Nayak, Nayika. So now they have their bodies, but the bodies change with time. That's what he was saying, Kala. Kalatvadi dosh. Besides other problems, there is a problem of time. That it transforms everything. So then even if somebody is very beautiful, that beauty changes with time. Then your mamta changes, then it brings suffering. Or their behavior, their character changes. What you thought is not like that. Right? So this is the story. So this is how avidya. Avidya, asmita, raga. Raga is mamta, dvesha, opposite of that. Abhinivesha, panchaklesha. So 5-pronged suffering. So that is the avidya story. The prema is just the opposite of that. So tathaiva prema svavritya mamtaya ishwaram sukhrupai api ati sukhaitum badhnati. So in the same way, the prema, by its various manifestations with mamata, it binds Ishvara, means you become attached to him, who is sukhrupam, who is by nature happiness, and still you want to give him happiness. Sukhaitum. So he is happy and you want to give him happiness, and that naturally brings happiness. There is only happiness. So this is the prema. So this is the distinction between prema and jnana marga. यथा दंडनीय जनस्य गात्र बंधनम रज्जु निगडादिना माननीय जनस्य अपि गात्र बंधनम अनर्घ सुगंध सूक्ष्म लक्षण कंचु कोष्ण शादिना इति अविद्याधीनो जीवो दुखी प्रेमाधीन कृष्ण अति सुख इति. So he says, just as in the material world, because he is saying that you are looking to bind somebody, because everybody is looking for a relationship in the material world, right? So relationship means binding. So you are trying to bind somebody, but here in the material world, this binding is a cause of trouble. It is the source of suffering. So he said, just as here in the material world, if somebody is to be punished, so you bind him with rope, rajju, nigada. Nigada is like these handcuffs. So nigadadina. Similarly, those who are worshipable, they are also bound. So how do you bind them? If they give them a garland, bind. Give some sugandha, some fragrant items, flowers. Sukshma slakshana kanchuk koshnu swadina, give them nice dress to wear, food. So ityadi adhino jivo dukhi premadhina krishna ati sukhi. So jiva is therefore dukhi and Krishna, who is premadhin, is ati sukhi. So Krishna is bound by love, and living beings in the material world are bound by avidya. So here all bondages are in avidya, and therefore they are suffering. And the bondage with Krishna is bondage of prema, therefore it is happiness. And Krishna is happy, devotee is also happy. किंचा यथैव अविद्या स्वतारतम्येन ज्ञानावरण तारतम्यात् जीवस्य पंचविध क्लेश तारतम्यं विधीयते तथैव प्रेम्णापि स्वतारतम्येन ज्ञानैश्वर्यादि आवरणात् तारतम्यात् स्वविषय आश्रयो अनंत प्रकारं सुख तारतम्यं विधीयते. So he continues this comparison, that just as avidya by its various degrees it covers a living being. Ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantava. So jnanavaran tartamyat jivasya panchavidha klesh tartam. So therefore there are 5 types of klesha which comes from avidya. So there are different degrees of that, depending on how much is the avidya of the person. So it gives that. So in the same way, the prema also has its tartamya. And its tartamya is jnana aishwarya adi avarana tartamya. So how much the prema becomes covered by aishwarya, then so many degrees. So this says they are unlimited. Anant prakaram suktartha. So Srimati Radharani, that is the prema highest. And then there are various levels from down onwards. So those are coverings of different levels of jnana or aishwarya, it says. So swa-vishaya ashrayo ananta prakaram, and therefore there is unlimited number of pleasures or happiness of both vishaya and ashraya. So vishaya is Krishna, ashraya is devotee. So, object of love and subject of love. Tatra kevalah prema Shri Yashodadi nishtha Svavishaya ashrayo mamta rasnaya nibadhya Paraspar vashibhutau vidhaya Gyan aishwaradikam avritya yathadhikam sukhayati न तथा देवक्यादि निष्ठा ऐश्वर्य ज्ञान मिलितत्वेन प्राबल्य भावात्. So now he comes to the conclusion that here now in relationship with prema he says devotees like Srimati Yashoda, so the prema in those devotees is binding them. Sva Vishaya Ashraya Mamta Rasnaya Nibadhya. So Vishaya and Ashraya devotee and Krishna, they are bound by the rope of love, because bondage is on both sides. It's not just one. If you have the chain of the dog in your hand, then it's not only that dog is bound, you are also bound with the dog. If the dog releases the chain and runs away, then you run behind it because you are bound to it. So bondage is both ways. So similarly, devotee is bound to Krishna and Krishna is bound to devotee. So Madvinatena jananti naham tebhyo managapi. They do not know anything other than me, and I also don't know anything but them. So that is the relationship of Krishna and his bhakta. So they were paraspar vashibhuta. So they are mutually controlled. Devotee is controlled by the love of Krishna and Krishna is controlled by the love of his devotee. So Jnana-aishwaradikam avritya yatha adhikam sukhayati. So this prema, it covers the Jnana and Aishwarya. It does not get covered. So he says here Jnana Aishwaryadikam avritya. This prema is the one which is covering that. Means they do not come up and overpower it. So yatha adhikam sukhayati. So it gives immense pleasure to both of them. But it is not the same. Similarly, it is not in Devaki, etc., outside Vraja. Na tatha devakyadi nishtha. So the prema which is situated in Devaki and others, Vasudeva and other Yadus. So this is Aishwarya Jnana Militatvene. It is mixed with Aishwarya Jnana. And therefore Prabalya Bhavat. Therefore it is not as intense, as powerful, as deep, as strong as the prema of Vrajavasis. And therefore the sweetness and pleasure is also not that powerful. Tattat premnes tatha tatha bhutatve karanam tu nanveshtavyam. So now he says that now there is no need to search for a reason why the Brajvasis have prema like this, why Devaki has like this. Because there is no cause for that. Just happens to be like that. So karanam tu nanveshtavyam. So don't try to search for a reason for that. Tasham yasodadi devakyadinam nitya siddhatva. Why? Because they are nitya siddha bhaktas. They are eternally perfected beings. They did not become perfect because of sadhana, and so that you can say, well, she did sadhana like this, therefore she has prema like this. No, they are nitya siddha bhaktas. This is how they have been. So therefore it is causeless. Just as Krishna is Sarveshwara, there is no cause for that. Cannot say why is he God. So there is no reason for that. Tattat tadris prema visheshanam api nitya siddhatvat iti sarvam niravadyam. So because they are nitya siddha bhaktas, therefore their prema is also nitya siddha. And therefore everything is flawless, niravadyam. There is no problem. So we should not also think that the Yadavas or they have some problem in them or anything. No, it is all perfect. They are all perfected devotees. Krishna is happy with them. Krishna is God, so he manifests himself in so much variety, but it's just a comparison to understand what is pure prema. And this is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed. So this is the distinguishing characteristic of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu than all other avatars or forms of Bhagavan, that he specifically revealed this knowledge. So others are also devotees and they are all great, they are all worshipable. We should not have any feeling of disrespect for anybody. But this is something special here, the Braj Bhaktas. So this is a very nice comment he has made on this sloka. So any questions on this?
Babaji Maharaj? I have one question here that for this mamatva there has to be an identity. The identity will give rise to mamatva with anything, maybe material or otherwise when the spiritual identity is there, then it will give rise to spiritual mamatva. So my question was coming like this, that here the practical experience is that this identity changes like with time, or as you mentioned, time also has an effect. But because of other causes and reasons also, this identity is changing. So how come like this, what is the reason, or how the spiritual identity gets fixated? It doesn't change at all.
Because Kala Guna Vyatikara. Kala is called Guna Vyatikara, which influences the gunas of Prakriti. And in the spiritual world there are no gunas. Pravartate yatra na rajastamastayo sattvam mishram nacha kala vikrama. So nacha kala vikrama. The influence of time is not there. Time is there, but its influence is not there. Because for time to influence, there have to be guna. Something, if you want to influence, sati kudya chitram. If you want to paint, there should be a canvas to paint. If canvas is not there, where will you paint? So if the gunas are not there, then kala, where will it show its influence? So gunas are not existing there. Nayatra maya kimta hare parer yatra anuvarta surasraya chita. So that's why they don't change.
Primarily, that identity will get fixated because Nachakal Vikrama. So, but within that identity, the activities and that is happening because of I mean to say, how this various movements or activities take place within that identity.
What is
because here we see that whenever we do any activity or there is any thought process, if that thought process also changes because some change of identity takes place, then your thought process also changes.
Yeah, but change. Give me an example. Where is your identity changing? Tell me.
Now, supposing I was a student earlier, then I cleared my competitive exam and I joined the services. So then my identity changed, my thought process also changed.
Yeah, but you are changing your position. But if you had remained a student, then what will happen? This kind is not there. They are not that now I am student, now I'll have a job, then I change my job. The spiritual world, they have the relationship with Krishna, they are dealing with him permanently.
So I think I'm not able to put my question, frame my question correctly.
That's why I cannot answer it correctly.
So I think my question was the various thoughts which are coming here.
Yeah, but your identity is not changing. Your thoughts maybe, but your identity is with your wife, with your children. Is it changing when your thoughts are coming?
No.
So, how is your identity changing with these thoughts? Your identity that you are father of so and so, your husband of so and so, your son of so and so, does it change?
No.
So that's how it is. Anything else?
Babaji Maharaj,
Yes. Yes.
who's speaking? Mataji, it was me, please go ahead.
So I was just thinking that in a way you can say that we, the Nitya Bhadas, are more fortunate than even the Dvarkavasis, Nitya Siddhas, because we have the chance to reach the highest prema, which they do not have. But then they would not perceive it like that. I mean, they are perfectly satisfied with what they have, right? And they're not aware that this is happening.
So do you want them to become dissatisfied?
No, of course.
So then what's the problem? You are happy, they are happy. Both parties are happy, what's the problem?
Yeah. It's just amazing that we have this chance.
So this is what I said, this is the greatness of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, Ramanji.
Babaji Maharaj, follow up on the previous question, is that what is Sthai Bhava?
Yes, Sthai Bhava is. Prema is based on Sthai Bhava.
So that identity of, whether it's Dwarka or it's in Goloka or it's in Braj, that is the Bhava that one develops and that stays.
Developing is actually a wrong word. Now we are learning Sanskrit, so get used to words. Proper choice of word is very important. So you get it, not that it develops.
Okay.
I was just in my class today, and my teacher said there is a Namkaran ceremony. When the child is born. So he says Namkaran does not mean giving a name. He says this is a wrong translation. He is so precise. He says when Shabda is Nitya, it's not that you make the name or anything. He says it's called putting the name. Vidadhati. Not giving. So, right choice of the word is one of the teaching of Vyakaranam. That is the whole effort here. What is the right word? Okay, is it clear? Or you have something else?
Thank you, Babaji.
All right. Yes.
There's one word I didn't get. I don't know.
Tartamya means gradation.
Okay.
Tara and Tama. These are two pratyas in Sanskrit. Tarap and Tamap. Like in English, we have better, best. Comparative is Tara. And Tama is superlative. So taratama, and if you apply ness on that, it becomes tartamya. Means the essence of taratama is, means what is taratama is giving gradation. So from taratama comes tartamya.